Hi students! Today we are going to be learning about decimals and decimal addition and subtraction. We've already learned a little bit about decimals, how to write them, what they look like, and that they are just an extension of fractions or another way to write fractions, right? Let's start out by thinking of real life situations where you might see a decimal, right? It's that little dot in between. What is a situation where you might see a decimal? I know one that we use almost every day. Money. Yes, money. We know that this little guy is a quarter, right? And it represents 0.25 or 25 cents of a dollar, right? We know that this is not a whole number. It does not equal $1. You would have to have 4 of these to equal a dollar. It's written as 0.25, right? Yes. So here's one way that we encounter decimals every day. Can anyone think of something else? I know one thing, especially now, that is so important. Who knows what this number means? 98.6. Here's our decimal place. 98 6/10. Who knows what this is? What is this number? Right. It is a normal body temperature. Yes, we have our whole number, which is 98, and we have 6/10, right? This isn't quite 10/10. If it was, this would go away and it would be 99, but we have 6/10. So we have to put a decimal point here and put a 6 to the right of the decimal point. So we encounter decimals every single day. As we've talked about, we see it in money, right? $10.10. Anything to the right is not a whole number. 0.1. This is in the tenths place, so it is 1/10. $10 and 1/10 of a dollar. We see these every day, but let's look closer at what the definition of a decimal is. What is a decimal? Here is a quick little figure. Now this is going to represent a whole number, okay? What is a decimal? A decimal number can be defined as a number whose whole number part and the fraction part is separated by a decimal point. A decimal point is a dot in between a number. The digits following the decimal point are smaller than the value of one whole. So if we look right here, we have 0.6. Now, we know that there is a fraction that also represents this, 6/10, okay? So here is our whole number, but only 6 lines are shaded in. So we see out of 10 marks, 6 are highlighted. So we have 6 of 10 marks highlighted. We can also write that in decimal form as 0.6 or 6/10. Let's look real quick, a quick refresher on our place values. We already know that if we have the number 12.0, that our number 1 is in the tens place. The tens place is how many tens are in the number. So for this, we have 1 tens. In the ones place, we have a 2. So we know 2 ones are in the number. Then we have our decimal place. So we know any number to the right of the decimal place is not a whole number. Our next number is 0. So that means we have 0/10. This is the tenths place. Okay, we've talked about real life examples, but let's think of another really fun real life example that we can use fraction and decimals to represent. Let's look at this pizza. So we have a pizza and it is sliced into 10 slices. So if we write that number out, we have 10 out of 10 slices in our pizza, okay? So if we write this out in a decimal pattern, we have 1, because we have a whole pizza, 0.0, because there are no fractions or decimals as of yet, okay? Now, let's look at the next one. Say, for instance, you eat one slice of pizza. So let's take away 10 minus 1, and we know that we have 9 slices left. 9 out of 10 slices left, okay? So how would we write that as a decimal? Well, remember, there was nothing to the left of the decimal because there's no whole pizza anymore. So let's go ahead and put a 0 here. We'll separate it by the decimal point, okay? So to the right is the tenths place. How many slices out of 10 are left? Right, 9 slices. We have 9 out of 10 slices left, so we have 9 tenths, 0.9 or 9 tenths. Let's try another one. Let's eat another piece of pizza. Now, how many slices do we have left? 8 slices. 8 out of, yes, 10. 8 out of 10 slices are left. So we know that there is nothing to the left of the decimal point because we don't have a whole pizza left. But how many tenths do we have left? Right, we have 8 tenths, 0.8 or 8 tenths. Very good. So let's look at one more. Okay, let's say Susie eats one more piece of pizza. Now, 10 minus 3, we've got 7 pieces left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 out of 10 pieces left. If we write as a fraction, 7 out of 10, 7 tenths. Let's write it as a decimal. Once again, we have a 0 on the left of the decimal point because we do not have a whole pizza left. But how many tenths do we have left? Well, we set up here, we have 7 tenths. So let's put a 7 right here. 0.7 or 7 tenths are left of the pizza. Very good, very good. All right, let's look all together at another example. First, we're gonna do a few problems together, and then we're gonna work in small groups, okay? After that, I will give you the opportunity to go into your iPads on a very, very fun game where you can practice some of these techniques by yourself, okay? So first, what we are going to do is look at this very simple problem, okay? We're gonna look at 2 and 5 tenths plus 2 and 8 tenths, okay? So remember earlier what we said is that our whole numbers are gonna be represented by a square. We're gonna use this for the ones place, a square, because it's a whole number, okay? And then we'll have our decimal point and our tenths place, but we're gonna represent our tenths by a stick. It's not quite a whole number. We know that we need 10 tenths to equal one whole number, okay? So whole numbers will be represented by a square and the tenths place by a stick. So let's look at this problem again. We have 2 and 5 tenths plus 2 and 8 tenths. So let's go ahead and write this out just in a small picture format. We've got 2 squares, 1, 2 to represent our ones place. And how many tenths? 5, right. Let's represent those by sticks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great job. Now we're going to add 2 whole numbers. 1, 2. Now how many sticks do we have right here? 8, right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now that's a lot. So now what we're going to do is we are going to put these together. So we said anything to the right of the decimal place is not a whole number, but it takes 10 tenths to make a whole number. So first we're going to add up our tenths place. Let's see how many sticks we have. Do you think we have 10? Yes, definitely. We definitely have 10. Let's add them up. We'll mark through them as we go so we know that they've been counted, okay? So let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Great. So that 10 tenths adds to one whole number. So we're going to add a box down here to represent these 10 sticks that we are marking out, right? So let's add up all the boxes now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got 5. Now let's see how many sticks we have left, right? 1, 2, 3. Now we know it takes 10 tenths to make one whole number. So this isn't enough. So remember, our decimal comes between our whole numbers and any parts that are smaller than a whole number. So we have 5 and we've got 3 tenths left. So it will look like this, 5.3 or 5 3/10. Very good job. Now, what I want us to do is break into small groups and to go over about 10 problems with your partner, okay? So we're going to break into groups and go into a very quick time to go over 10 problems, and I'll be walking around to help you if you have any issues, okay? But remember, we're going to work on simple problems first, and we are going to represent whole numbers with a box, and we're going to represent tenths with a little stick. When we have 10 of those, we know it equals 1, and we can remove those sticks and add an extra box, okay? So I'm going to give you some time to work with your partner on these, okay? Good. So what we're going to do now that you're done with your group work is we're going to take some time to practice on our own. What we're going to do is we're going to get out your iPads and we are going to get on Splash Learn so that you can play some games using the tenths place with addition and subtraction, okay? So we're going to get out our iPads and I want you to go to Splash Learn. Now what we're going to play is we're going to click on the tenths decimal game, okay? Once you bring it up, you'll see this little hippo right here, and it's going to give you questions like this. It's going to say which decimal number is shown by the model. So you remember that 1 square equals 1, but it's marked into tenths, okay? So you're going to see how many lines are shaded, which will give you how many tenths we're looking for. So in this case, let's count together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, okay? 8 out of 10 lines are shaded, so we know that that's 8 tenths. So do you see down here 8 tenths? Right. Good job. Okay, now we're going to give you some time to do the rest on your own, all right? Okay guys, now that you have had time to work as a whole class and work as a group, and also use your iPad on Splash Learn to practice some addition and subtraction of decimals, what we're going to do is we're going to do a quick assessment, only 10 questions, to just see how well you have learned our decimal points, okay? Addition and subtraction of decimals. Here is your assessment, and I'm going to give you 20 minutes to go ahead and complete that. Thank you guys so much for trying hard on your assessments. The last thing we're going to do before we go on to a new lesson is we are going to do a real life simulation of decimals in action, okay? This is going to be really fun. What we are going to do is you will each be given some money. And we are going to set up a store here. And what you're going to do is you're going to pick up some items from the grocery store, and it's going to be marked with how much it costs. Now, these will all be decimals in the tenths place. So, for example, it could cost 10 cents, which we know is written at 0.1. 1/10 of a dollar, right? So I want you to pick up some money, and I want you to pick up some groceries from our grocery store, and you are going to check out with your money. I want you to be able to add up out of how many items you got, how much money do you need, right? They all have decimals. So let's say, for example, you have 4 items and they are 10 cents a piece. We're going to figure out that 4 tenths is your total. So what would you need? Right. You're going to have to come up with how much money you would need. 40 cents. 40 cents or 4/10 of a dollar to pay for your food, okay? So that's what we're going to do in this next part of the lesson. Thank you so much for watching. I know I am in the bathroom right now recording this lesson. We just don't have a lot of space right now, but hopefully it gave a thorough overview of, some of the activities that I plan to implement and some of the technology that I plan to implement into this lesson of learning decimal addition and subtraction. Thank you so much.